Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is a tutorial on a half skull and a half glam slash 21 Pilots kind of theme. So this is going to be a sugar skull kind of inspired look, but it ended up being more of a skull, wrong side, skull kind of look. This is in collab with Salvia. She's an amazing makeup artist and we are both on the Ipsy OS team, so it's super awesome. She's so incredibly sweet. I will link her channel down below. Seriously, go check her out. She is insanely talented. So this is in collaboration with her. I really hope you guys enjoy. I've never done like a skull before, and then I want to do a more glam side, but this is all inspired to me by 21 Pilots. And they are my favorite band by far. They're just amazing guys. As you can tell, I have their poster behind and I have a pumpkin, you know, painted. And their colors are obviously, you can see behind me, red, blue, and black and white. This is Tyler Joseph, one of his cross tattoos. And they are just amazing godly men and they led me closer to God, and for that I can never repay them. This is mostly inspired by the song Holding On To You, because that song for me is something that means a lot more than just, you know, it being a song and it just being music. It's a song that I can connect to so well, and that just changed my life. In the music video they have dancing ballerinas and dancers with skulls and stuff like that. So this is just, you know, for Tyler and Josh and the Skeleton Clique. If you're part of the Skeleton Clique, you let me know down below, and I hope you guys enjoy this look. If you like it, please thumbs up and just keep on watching for the tutorial.
Hi everyone, welcome back. So I'm starting out with my favorite primer. This is the L'Oreal Miracle Blur Primer, the oil-free version, and placing that all over my face along with one of my favorite foundations, the Makeup Forever HD foundation. I'm applying a couple layers of that because it's very buildable and I still want my skin to look like my skin, but with coverage. Then I'm going in with the Tarte CC Concealer, the Colored Clay Concealer in light to medium, placing that over my brows, and I do regret not gluing down my brows. If I were you, I would glue down your brows with an Elmer's glue stick that is washable, and then put any concealer over it, because then I go in again with the Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer in Fair and cover up them brows. I've got coarse brow hair. Some of you don't, and that's totally okay. I do, and you know, kind of wish I would have covered them up more, but it's alright. And then I go in with the Mary Kay Powder Foundation in 0.5. This is lighter than my skin color right now, and so I'm going to use that all over my face later on. So then this is when you get into the skull part. I am using the L'Oreal Voluminous eyeliner in the blackest color they have to trace out my eye socket, and then I'm going in with the Essence Long Lasting Black Eyeliner to fill in that waterline around my eyeball, because I need it to be as black can get around there. And then I'm going to do a little bit of shading in the lower part of that eye socket. I'm going to set all of that with the blackest matte shadow I have, and that is in the Urban Decay Naked Basics palette. And I'm setting everywhere I put the black shadow except for the very bottom. I'm only setting it a little bit with that black shadow, and then I'm going to highlight it because I want it to have dimension with the color Serious from the Urban Decay Gwen Stefani palette. I'm highlighting that just a little bit down there, and then I'm going to use the color Skimp and Stark down there with my finger and blend it out a little more just so the dimension can be there and it isn't going to be all one shape. Then I'm going in with the Colourpop Honeydew eyeliner. Use any eyeliner that is your skin tone or lighter, because then if you make mistakes you can easily wipe it off with your finger. And I'm just tracing where my jawline is, where the upper part of my cheekbone is, and around my forehead where any kind of skeleton shading would be. And you know, when I mess up I wipe it off with my finger. If I don't like it I wipe it off and I can just draw it back on. It's so awesome to use any color that is, you know, the same color as your skin or lighter, because it's so much easier to work with. And if you make a mistake, you can just start right over. Bless me. Did I really just bless myself? Yeah, whatever. So I go in with the NYC Liquid Liner and I start to trace the skeleton nose. And I realize I would be better off using the Duo Stroke Liquid Eyeliner from Absolut New York, because I'm going to have a little bit more control with it. I'm using the thinner side to do this, and then I'm going to fill it in with that Essence eyeliner again, and it's just easier to fill it in with that. And then I'm setting that with black matte shadow again. Now this is where the part comes in where you can see where it's going to start to more look, you know, like a skeleton. Going in with that Absolut New York liquid liner again and filling everywhere I put that honeydew liner, and I'm just basically tracing it out. It doesn't have to be super precise because we're going to blend it out later anyway. And then I just trace wherever I put that skin tone liner. It goes right over it easily. And then I realized, well, I don't want that lower line, that lower jawline. I kind of wish I would have left it. I think it would have been cool too, but the way it turned out was just fine for me. And then I'm going in with the L'Oreal eyeliner again, the big jumbo stick liner, and filling everywhere I put that Absolut New York liquid liner because it's going to make it darker and it's going to make it smoother. And it's just going to last longer as well. It looks better and more real. I just needed the liquid liner to shape it out a little bit. And then I'm going to shade it. Now, this doesn't have to be precise either, but make sure you're shading it away from the eye. So shade it towards your hairline, shade it towards your jawline downwards, because then we're going to be blending that out with the matte black shadow again to make it have dimension. So again, shade it away from your eye and anywhere towards the outer portions of your face. This is going to give it shape. And then I'm going to go in with a matte brown shadow, also the darkest matte brown shadow in the Urban Decay Naked Basics palette. And that's going to give it more dimension too, because if it's just one shade, it's not going to have as much dimension and, you know, the 3D effect as it would if we had the brown. So I'm adding just a little bit deep brown. You don't want it to be too light, and blending it out. It really changed the look, and I'm highlighting the nose just a little bit with that too. Then I'm going in with a mix of the brown and the black and going in the frown line and basically just making it sharper. And then I'm going in with the Inglot gel liner in number 77 with a small angled brush from Anastasia and forming that out. That one I'm not blending, but always blend the shadow out. Then I'm shading just a little bit of black shadow underneath my lip. And then here is the hardest part, I think, of the look. Personally, it was just a little bit difficult. It wasn't too bad once I get the hang of it, though. Just starting it is a little difficult. It is the teeth. You want to smile and basically match up the lines of your teeth with that liquid liner. You can use a pencil liner if you want, but I felt with this liquid liner, it was a lot easier to form those teeth. A lot of people use body paint and a really thin, precise brush. But I didn't have that, so, you know, I work with what I got. So I did the teeth, and I'm basically making sure the lines go all the way down to the lips, because it's basically supposed to be like you have no skin, it's all skeleton, and so teeth are bones. So I just make sure they're all connected. And then I put a black line in between to give that shaded effect as well, because there's always that line in between the teeth to make sure the separation between the upper and lower rows of teeth. And I'm going in with a pretty white shadow and filling in those teeth. Again, it doesn't have to be super perfect and super precise. I'm just making sure it's in each one of those teeth, that white shadow. And then I'm going in with the matte black shadow again and filling in those spaces in between the teeth, not inside, but outside of the teeth, and shading it, because that's gonna be the shaded out where it comes to your mouth. And then I'm going in with the NYC Liquid Liner and making the teeth more dimensional and just being able to stick out more, because I want them to look not brighter necessarily, but there. I want them to be shown a little more. Then I'm going in with my Mary Kay powder foundation in 0.5 and shading everywhere I don't have black. So this is going to be basically the skeleton white part of it. You can use body paint if you wanted and, you know, put it on before you do any of the black, but this is more of a basic skull, and with, you know, my skin there as well. So I just basically fill it all in with powder foundation that it isn't covered with black. So then you can see the half separation between the half skull and the half glam look, because this is going to be a lot lighter than my actual foundation shade and a lot lighter than my actual skin tone. It's going to be more skeleton-like. So I basically put that everywhere. Now here comes the separation of the face part. I traced out where I wanted to put Tyler Joseph's tattoo on my forehead. So he's got 2 tattoos, and this is basically, well, he's got way more than 2 tattoos, but this is a mixture of 2 of his tattoos. He's got a cross on his arm, and for me, that's what I was trying to achieve here. So on one side of my face, I'm going to fill in half of it, and then the other side of the face, it's just going to be hollow. So I'm doing the first half right now, and you'll see at the end that the hollow parts of this, not the black parts, are going to shape as a cross. I wish I could play music, Tony Pilot's music through this whole tutorial, because the whole time I was actually filming it, of course, I had music on. So now I'm going to do the glam side, and I'm going in with my Urban Decay Naked Skin Concealer in Fair, and then I'm setting that with the Artiste Translucent Powder. Anywhere I put that concealer, because, you know, gotta have that glam look. And then you see there I filled out the rest of Tyler's tattoo. And as you can see, right in the middle of my forehead is a cross, and that's a lot of symbolism for me and for him, and it's just really great. And I just felt like, you know, that's one thing I really wanted to incorporate it, and because, you know, it's a 21 Pilots inspired Halloween tutorial. So then I filled in my crease of my eyelid with a little bit of Buck from the Urban Decay Naked palette, the very first one. And then I'm using the NYC Liquid Liner to do a wing. I just wanted to do a basic wing, not make the eyes super complicated. So first I do a wing liner, and then right in the crease I'm doing a cut crease after that. I'm going to be using the NYX Vivid Brights liquid, I think you could just call it a liquid eyeliner, from NYX. I got this in my Ipsy bag. You can see I'm going in my crease right here, and it's in the shade Gunmetal. So it's VBL10, but it's basically in the shade Gunmetal. And I'm mimicking that wing liner, but in my crease. So this is going to give it that cut crease glam sort of look. Then I'm going in with the shade Blonde from the Urban Decay Gwen Stefani palette and putting it on my lid, carving out that cut crease. I didn't realize how far I was on the camera, how low I was when I was doing that. And then I'm going to fill in my eyebrows with the Anastasia Brow Definer in medium brown like always. You know, just carving them out, making sure I blend it out with a spoolie on the other end because, you know, you want to be glam and clean at the same time. But just filling my brows in as usual. And then I'm going in with the Colourpop Super Shock Pressed Pigment in the shade Too Shy and blending that out on my lower lash line, you know, just like I usually would. And then going in with Danger from the Gwen Stefani palette and blending that in my lower lash line as well, just like I normally would. I just wanted to deep it up a bit. Then I'm going to shape those teardrops on my cheekbones with the Absolut New York Liquid Liner again. And this is honestly pretty easy to do because this liquid liner pen is pretty easy to control. And then I'm going to fill it in with this Essence lipstick, this bright red lipstick with, yes, a toothpick, because that is the most precise tool I had to do this. I didn't have any other brush that was going to do the job for me correctly, and this ended up working out super easy because it was like the easiest thing to control ever. And it just, yeah, there you go. See, it worked out pretty easily. It worked out good. And then I'm taking out an angled brush and putting that red lipstick in my lower lash line, my waterline, because this represents, you know, what Josh Dunn does at the concerts. And then with the neck, I'm doing, you know, what Tyler Joseph does at the concert, at their concerts as well. This, you know, for him, this represents his blurry face and his insecurities basically suffocating him. So I'm using that L'Oreal black pencil liner, and it doesn't have to be super precise when you start to shade it in, but then when you start to blend it out with the brush, I'm using this Tarte brush, and you start to blend it out and it looks exactly, you know, like Tyler Joseph's does. It doesn't have to be obviously all super dark and super shady. It's going to be kind of just a wash of black on half of the neck. And then I'm going in a little bit again and then going to blend it out just because I wanted that whole side of the neck covered, because again, this is, you know, a half-half look. And just all I needed to be sharp was the jawline and the side or the middle of the neck. So as you can see here, I'm carving out the middle of my neck just to make sure that part is sharp and I can differentiate the skin between that. And then on the glam side, I'm going in with my Kat Von D Shade and Light Contour Palette and bronzing / contouring my face. And then I'm going to blend the crap out of that because I made it way too dark when I initially put it on. I'm blending that out with a BH Cosmetics brush quite a bit, and, you know, I ended up looking good. It's nice because it warmed up my face, you know. It's still half glam look, you know. Then I'm using this e.l.f. Beauty Sponge and basically blending out wherever I needed to blend out on my skin because that's the sponge I use for my foundation. And then I'm highlighting with Jaclyn Hill and Becca's collaboration with Champagne Pop. Favorite highlighter, still gotta make that glam look glam. Man, I love this highlighter. And this is my mug my brother got me for my birthday, the Peace Will Win and Fear Will Lose 21 Pilots mug. It's on an Etsy shop, and oh, I love it. Then I'm going in with that Urban Decay Gwen Stefani Blue Shadow and Danger again. I'm just putting it to make that skull kind of a little more glam, kind of almost like a sugar skull kind of glam area. And then I'm going over it with the Too Shy color from Colourpop as well. I wanted just a shade of blue, a pop of blue on top of that eye, and then I went in my lower lash line and put some red lipstick on there again too. And then I'm just defining that, you know, black line in between the teeth again with the NYC Liquid Liner. And then I'm going in with these Ardell lashes. They aren't the demi wispies. I wanted this to be a little more GLAM. I will put them down below what they are. I think they're some kind of stage lash. I use them for Miss Michigan. I love them. I'm using those with the Duo Lash Glue. I put the eyelashes on both sides because I wanted my eyes to pop on the skull side as well. But oh, I love these lashes so much. And then I'm going to put lipstick on the half glam side, the Essence Shade 14 red lipstick. And then I'm going to do the 21 Pilots symbol on my neck, and I realized, well, I'm an idiot. I did it on the wrong side. I was looking in the mirror, so it looked right to me, but as you can see on the poster behind me, that one was not right. So I redid it again and then made the symbol. And there you go. So I hope you guys enjoyed this look. It was so much fun, and I mean, it was so fun to do, and I would love to do more stuff like this again. So stay alive, my friends. Stay sick as frick, and if you ever need me, just know I'm here. Have a good day, everyone. Love you guys. Bye.